there. All right, we still got more that we didn't get a chance to get to. Kentucky, Kentucky decided that they wanted to join the party. And I know that inside jokes don't always land, but when Tom tweeted that Kentucky rushing to fire Mark Stoops late Saturday night was like when Danny showed up 5 minutes late to the Lane Kiffin reaction pod.
I was messed up. I was literally 2 minutes late.
Well, hey, now we got
it was 2 minutes. I think it was like 35 seconds. Like we had just gone off air, and then Danny pops up in the room.
But what's Kentucky? I mean, this is an expensive decision.
Yeah,
and
but Chris Lowe did report last night that Stoops and Kentucky negotiated that the buyout, instead of being in 60 days, can now be done over a number of years.
So he's going to go out as like the program's all-time winner. They're going to say, look at all these great things he did. I love you, mean it. And he gets a nice little like pension fund, to be able to tap into, thanks to the good people of the state of Kentucky. So what does Kentucky do?
Will Stein. If he'll take it.
Right.
It's very much like a South Carolina, Missouri type job for me, where like, I don't really think you can win there, right? But you will get generational wealth if you take the job. So if you're Will Stein, part of this to me would be like, is Dante coming back? I think Dante's got a chance to go number 1 overall this year if he comes out. So I would be like very skeptical on some of these Oregon reports that he's coming back. But Will Stein would be in one of the best positions to know that. So if Dante is bouncing, I think if I'm Will Stein, I would probably go ahead and take the guaranteed $35 million that I'm going to make from Kentucky, whether or not I think I can actually win there. And Stoops has not done a good job for like 2 years. So I think you could probably do somewhat better than Mark Stoops did. Whether you can get hired up and out of there, I'm very skeptical of that, because now you're playing 9 conference games a year instead of 8. We don't have the SEC East plus the Mississippi State annual cross-division rival like he used to have, which is, I mean, Stoops kind of got, record. He did a really nice job there, but also there were some fortunate scheduling factors for him for quite some time. They would always schedule three easy wins in the non-conference plus Louisville, which is usually a coin flip, right? So you're 3-1 or 4-0 in the non-con, like every year. If you win 2 SEC games, you go to a bowl. Now it's going to be harder because you only get 2 non-con games plus Louisville every year, right?
You said it so fast. Is there no thought that Will Stein would be like, hell no, I'm not going to play for Kentucky?
Yeah, there's a possibility that he would do it. I mean, he's a Louisville grad.
He played for Louisville.
Yeah.
He grew up in Louisville. He has like the exact same sort of profile that you sold the Jeff Brom. He started his coaching career on the Louisville coaching staff. I mean, it is not Jeff Brom because of the Brom family and how it extends to the high school football scene and everything else, but it is very much a Louisville's favored son. Him taking Kentucky would be an interesting swing in that in the Governor's Cup rivalry.
I think it would be a good hire, and I promise this is going to be the last time I bring this man's name up on the show. But just to go back to our earlier argument, Danny, Mark Stoops works with Kentucky to work on his buyout so they can fire him and move on because he cares about the school. He's a good person. Compare that to how Lane Kiffin did it. As for Kentucky, I mean, we talked about it on yesterday's show. Like, everybody seems so obsessed with having a guy who's currently a head coach that I feel like there's been a lot of good coordinators who have been passed up for these jobs. And we have seen plenty of instances of coordinators having success when they take over a big program. For instance, I don't think Kirby Smart was a head coach before he became the head coach at Georgia. I think Dan Lanning was a coordinator at Georgia before he took over the head coaching job at Oregon. And now I think Will Stein was a coordinator at Oregon under Dan Lanning before he might take the job at Kentucky. So I think it's nice to see Kentucky at least understanding that coordinators can still be very good head coaches. And I think if you look at the success that Will Stein has had at Oregon with different personnel, with a different quarterback the last 3 years each season, and they have not missed a beat, that to me tells me the man might know what he's doing.
Who was the quarterback at UTSA, the really dynamic one that played there like 6
Frank
years?
Harris.
Frank Harris. He won with him. He did a great job developing him too. I think he's a really good football coach. There might be a difference in a coach who's probably going to get fired. Hey, do you want to work this out? And so you can maybe make more money at somewhere else than a coach who has some leverage over. I'm just to say that. Don't want to revisit that too much. Might be a little bit of a different situation. But But Kirby Smart, what did he do? He waited. That's where I feel like Will Stein, even if Dante Moore goes, I'm going to assume that Oregon can find a pretty good quarterback as a replacement. I feel like Oregon is going to be consistently good, and Will Stein's name is going to continually come up. And by the way, I think you can make probably, I don't know, you can't make 35, but you can make really, really good money as the offensive coordinator at Oregon, especially if you're highly sought after. I would think long and hard if I'm Will Stein about, do I want this job or not? Because he's only 36. Like, you could be looking for work at 41 and have to go back to being a coordinator and like kind of have to start over. And if he hired, good for him. Good luck. It's not an easy place to win.
I just like 37 million is a lot to spend to improve by what? Like maybe a win or win and a half a year. I don't think you have like real upward mobility. Now, the feedback I got on Twitter was, look at Indiana, look at Vandy. I'm like, cool. So y'all are betting on getting the best quarterback you've ever had in history of your school? Mm-hmm. And again, I think Martin's
Will
done such a good
Stein's success with quarterbacks.
Like, obviously, I'm biased, right? I don't think Vandy's going to go back to the basement when Pavia leaves. But we don't know that, okay? Like, obviously, like, we're all huge Barton fans. He's our friend. But, like, that Pavia is like a freaking stud, man. And, like, you know, and they're probably getting this 5-star quarterback, right? Like a flip from Georgia. So like if he hits, obviously Curtis could be like, 2.0 maybe. But man, like Indiana and Vandy are getting people fired out here. But also like you got to reset the hype cycle. I don't really know if people are lining up to go to Kentucky games next year if you run Stoops back. And so part of it's like, hey, are we really going to do better? Like internally, you're like, all right, guys, we're probably not going to do a lot better, but we could do a little bit better. And we know ticket sales and donations are going to plummet if we don't give, like, we got to keep feeding the hope and hype cycle. This is like, it's a donor-led sport still.
Who else would be on the list?
Mike Bobo.
Dan Mullen?
I think that'd be a great hire. I mean,
Dan might try to
there's no recruiting expectations at Kentucky, right? He probably wouldn't. Would he object to them going like a GM style? Probably not. He doesn't like recruiting anyway.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I feel like Dan's pretty happy at UNLV.
I feel honestly. Yeah.
I mean, for his lifestyle and what he wants to do, I think UNLV is a great place for him. I think if he went to Kentucky, I think Dan's done that dance before. I
mean, what at a one arm tied behind your back SEC school? Yeah.
No, but no. I mean, like, why were Auburn fans mad at Hugh? What did Hugh love to do? What does Dan love to do? Yeah. A lot of great golf courses in the Vegas area. You go to Kentucky, they find out you've been golfing too much. They'll get mad.
I think if you were the basketball coach, they found out you're golfing too much, they get mad. Football, you make a bowl game, I think they're like, cool, like play 72.
I feel like Kentucky fans have been hoping for this for a while, though. But
Tyson Helton?
Sure. I just like, if you're Stein also, there has to be a conversation. Like, guys, it's pretty well known in the industry what you all spend on basketball. Like, what are the actual expectations? For so long, like Kentucky had really good alignment, contractual alignment with expectations. Hey, Mark, make a bowl game, you get an extension. That's the expectation here at Kentucky. And somewhere along the lines, like the expectations shifted, to where like we can be better. I'm like, guys, there may not be another level to reach here.
I understand what you are saying, but to the point that you brought up earlier that you dismissed, Indiana was a basketball school. Football was supposed to just distract them until basketball started. And then they decided they wanted to start investing in football. Why can't Kentucky change its mind and decide it wants to start investing in football? What if that's what they're doing here? They're literally spending nearly $40 million to get rid of their coach to bring in a new one. It feels like they're ready to start putting money into the program.